Hey there, I'm Joe Kistel, and I recently built some DIY lights for some video efforts. Turned out pretty well, so I thought I'd show you how I got that done. Okay, so the key component behind all this is obviously light bulbs. I chose to use compact fluorescent screw-in type bulbs of a daylight spectrum, and fortunately you can actually find these at most home centers. The second key component is the sockets that will power the lights and light them up themselves. With just the lights, the sockets, and power, you've got light right there. Now ideally we'd like to channel this light and put it where we want to, so I wanted to build something that would focus my light where I needed it. So I obviously started with light bulbs, and then I got mountable light sockets that I can mount to basically whatever I wanted to. And then I was fortunate to find these heavy duty industrial reflectors, and I had some aluminum that I could use to build the framing that I needed to attach it to the speaker stand I wanted to, and 1/4" standard thread hardware for this. And last but not least, an extension cord, a grounded extension cord, because we're dealing with metal here. I needed a base that I could attach the sockets to, the dome, and also mounting hardware to attach to the pole. So I had a piece of angle aluminum. I made a measurement, I cut it in half using an angle grinder. I then took the two pieces I had and I overlapped them and clamped them into a vice grip to make that U shape. Then I marked 2 holes and I drilled those 2 holes out, and these are the holes where I placed the hardware to secure the 2 pieces of angle together. Now that I had a solid U-beam, I went ahead and I clean cut the edges with an angle grinder, and I followed up that cut, cleaning the edges with a file. Next, I had to attach the reflector to the U-beam. I loosely positioned the reflector where I wanted it. I marked 2 holes. I drilled 2 1/8" holes where I made my marks. I then transferred those holes onto the beam using a Sharpie. I went ahead and I drilled out the holes on the U-beam, starting with an 1/8" bit, working my way up to a 1/4" bit. I then did the same thing on the dome itself. I went back, I drilled out the full 1/4" size holes. Then I went ahead and I put my hardware in, snugged it down, and now my reflector was attached to my U-beam. So now I loosely laid out the sockets on the U-beam within the reflector. This was to give me an idea where I wanted the sockets to be. When I got them in that position, I went ahead and I drilled out the holes for the sockets. In this case, I needed 3 1/8" holes to handle the hardware for the light sockets. After I drilled my holes, I went ahead and I loosely fit the light socket in just to make sure the holes were drilled large enough. Next, I needed a way to power up my light. I drilled a hole big enough to fit a grommet that was the right size for the power cord I was using. Once my hole was drilled, I placed the grommet in place, and then I threaded my power cord through the grommet. Since this is a metal fixture, I wanted to make sure to ground the system. So I drilled a hole in the U-beam and I attached the grounding wire with a bolt, snugged it down. To power this unit, I used a mini bus bar. I took my 2 leads off the power wire and installed them to one side of the bus bar. I then installed the sockets with the wires already attached to them. I then took the wires from the light sockets and screwed them into the appropriate side of the bus bar. Next, I went ahead and I put a light in each socket temporarily just to make sure it works. Plugged it in, test, voila, my sockets are working, I've got power. Before going any further, I decided to coat the bus terminals with liquid electrical tape to help avoid getting shot down the road. Once dried, I went ahead and screwed in the splitter sockets into my installed sockets. Finally, I had to attach mounting hardware so I could mount my lights to a speaker stand. To do this, I made 2 holes in the center of the backside of the beam, and I installed the clamps with the 1/4" hardware, tightened them down, made sure they're straight, slid the light on over the speaker stand, clamped it down. Now it was time for the first test. So I plugged the lights in and boom, they were pretty bright right away. Now full disclosure, these bulbs actually take a few moments to get to their full intensity, but it's pretty bright with the first plug-in. Now the light from these fixtures is pretty good in this configuration as is, but I figured I'd like to at least try to soften it a little bit. So I had a sheet of plastic laying around, and I thought that material would work well to make a slight diffuser. I took the plastic and I placed it up temporarily with clamps over the light domes. I traced around the perimeter of the light dome with a Sharpie. I then cut the circle out very carefully with a sharp razor blade. I now had a nice circle that would fit right into my dome, and I could simply clamp it into place. I like this light so much I went ahead and I built another one. And the only difference I did with this other one is I made the base mount adjustable so I can actually kind of raise and lower the light angle as needed. And to give you an idea how these lights work, I'm actually using them right now. I've got my key light right here, and fill, which is kind of like a second key because I have it so close, right here. I'm pretty impressed with the light we can get from these over-the-counter light bulbs from the hardware store. The key is the way you can control it, to do what you want with it. And if you can manage that, you can do pretty much anything with this type of lighting. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting and maybe inspiring to get creative with your own lighting setups. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing, and thanks for watching. I'm Joe Kistel. A little quick tip here. If you ever need just quick, easy lighting, just to light up a room or get ambient lighting, you can get these real simple adapters from the hardware stores. It's basically just a 2-prong plug with a socket on the end of it. So you stick that into an outlet, and then you can screw in a light. And I'll tell you what, it's a pretty easy, simple, very cheap way to light up a room. And this could come in handy for video picture efforts. It can even come in handy for just every old household things. For example, if you need to change a fan and your lights on your fan, well, how are you going to see to put the new fan in because you don't have lights? Just plug one of these babies in the wall. It's probably something I'm going to start carrying around in my equipment. Again, it's just a little prong, plug it in the wall, throw your light into it. So it's a little quick tip. Hope you found it helpful.